Is this Indian team under Virat Kohli the most aggressive team you've ever seen? And what defines aggression? This sort of gesturing, or the chirpiness, or in Nasser Hussain's words, the fact that they are less rattled and not as easily bullied as previous Indian teams, in Sunil Gavaskar's words? What do you mean by that? So we've got a player from a successful era in Indian cricket, overseas in particular, in Maninder Singh, who'll have a tasteful opinion on this, I'm sure. We've got a polite gentleman, the few that there are remaining. That's Ian Bell. And of course, there's Varun Shetty and Dustin Salgado. And suddenly somewhere in this conversation, Alan Gardner will pop up. So let me get into this. There's a lot of talk, Money, these days about how this team, it's in your face, you can see the passion and the fire, and therefore they are aggressive. They are something that we've not seen before. Certainly younger viewers may think so. What would you like to say to them?
See, basically, I think, if your leader is aggressive, then the team becomes aggressive, because Virat Kohli, we all know, doesn't like to lose, and he's pretty aggressive and he's pretty expressive, when he's on the field. In the past, we had seen individuals basically who were aggressive, who would show their aggression. But this team as a unit shows aggression, because we saw that in the Lord's Test match. I would like to add here that this was all started by Sourav Ganguly. We saw that shirt going. He took off his T-shirt, and when they won that NatWest during 2002 series, was it? That is what Sourav Ganguly was, and he taught us and the Indian boys, and they've been continuing that we can win abroad.
Come on, Mani. I find it interesting you saying that. You were part of a team that won in 86. There was a team that won in 71. I can think of a lot of players from your team saying, oh, did you think we didn't know how to win before Ganguly took off his shirt in a one-day final in 2002?
In the 1986 series that you're talking about, we had the Kapil Devs and the Chetan Sharmas. I was there. Ravi Shastri was there. We were aggressive in our own way. But this team now, seeing Virat Kohli, what he does on the field, as I said earlier, it rubs on to the team, and it has rubbed on to the team. And that is why nobody takes it lying down. If anybody says anything to this team, tries to rattle them, they won't get rattled.
The timing of this recording is curious too. It comes right after the Headingley test. If we were having this chat after Lord's, it's one thing. They've now had an innings defeat in the next test right after. The similar team lost 4-1 4 years ago. But we still look at it as, this is a team like we've not seen before. You've seen a lot of Indian teams, Belly. What do you make of it?
A lot of that is for show, isn't it? In terms of, look at us, we're not going to back down. And that's part of international sport, putting on a bit of a front. Whatever you're feeling inside, you can't be walking around with your head down and feeling sorry for yourself. There's a part of a bit of a show to not let the opposition know how you're thinking. But as Manny said, it absolutely spot on. It's you've got to find out for you individually how you do that. There are quiet guys who go about their business, and they're resilient and mentally tough and aggressive, but in a very different style. And to say that as well, I've played against, like you said, MS Dhoni teams and Kohli teams, and they're both as aggressive. Yes, not outwardly, and Dhoni wasn't a screamer and a shouter, but you never felt any less under pressure against them. It's just a different style, but also finding out individually and as a team what's best for you. Probably the best period that I played in under Andrew Strauss. Yes, you had your Jimmy Andersons, your Stuart Broad, your bit of your go-to aggressive guys. But collectively, Strauss was an aggressive captain. But I felt as a team, we were quite an aggressive side.
So let's hear from Varun now, who's come in ready, nice, looks formally attired. Not like the bad boys of the Indian team. Should I call them that? The bad boys of the current Indian team. Varun, take it away.
Maybe a point that isn't discussed, perhaps, is that this team thrives when it comes to, I guess, talking back at a fielder or at a bowler or at a batter. They were pretty much down and out in the last test, and only when the sort of heat started coming their way did they start responding. Jasprit Bumrah turning down a single to face 2 balls of wood after being hit on the head. It's wild to imagine that someone would turn down a single with Mohammad Shami also at the other end.
Kohli almost needs a bit of a confrontation to get the best out of him. Now, are we sort of making the mistake of assuming everybody else does? Because there are more and more characters. Siraj, you thinking is like that. KL Rahul is pretty much in the image of Virat Kohli. He doesn't mind a word or two every now and then. Dustin?
KL Rahul is a nice Bangalore boy, Ronak. What are you talking about?
There's no such thing. It's a myth. Yeah.
I wanted to ask Maninder, have you ever felt that you were part of a team that got bullied? And also, if say as a cricketer, somebody was sledging you when you were out there batting, would you expect your captain to then give it back and the entire team to kind of rally around you? Or should players, or is that really an expectation that you had of your team?
I remember, at Headingley, when I got Bill Athy out, and I don't think he had edged it, but he was given out by the umpire, so he had to walk out. And, after the game, Alan Nam came after me, when we were coming out of the dressing room, and I gave it to him. I said, next time you come on the field, we'll have a chat then, when you'll have to face me. So these are the kind of things sometimes you answer back. It just comes naturally to you. And I don't think as a team anybody got bullied really, but the individuals did. And then it was up to the individual to take their own decision whether they want to give it back or not.
There's a lot of chat about the culture of the English team these days as well. Jimmy Anderson saying it's not quite like the teams that I used to play in, where everyone else used to be fighting with me. Now I seem to be fighting alone. So, and look at what they've done at Headingley. Alan.
Sledging has always been part of the game, isn't it? I mean, the history of the Ashes is a history of sharp words and people trying to get under each other's skins. I think viewers like that, don't they? I mean, it's all that little bit of niggle. It's part of all great rivalries have this back and forth. The line, as famously defined or not defined by the Australians, kind of moves. It seems from series to series or from captain to captain. And the current Aussies are very nice chaps, led by Tim Payne, but not so very good at winning. I mean, I think maybe the thing we've got confused here is the sledging come first, or is it the team? Sledging is only really becoming an aggression in a good side, and this India side are indomitable at home and very capable away from home. So they've got far more opportunity to get in your face.
But before we get more comments, Belly, would you like to tell me about your teams? Though you had character, you had Kevin Peterson in a team, you had Matt Pryor in a team, guys that love to chat up a bit. Suddenly you got Joe Root and Josh Butler. I mean, they're in the image of Ian Bell, all the nice boys. But you've seen all of it.
I'm not sure. They've all got their moments. They have their moments. Josh in particular, don't worry about that. He's not a nice boy all the time. And I think that in the teams I played with, I don't think we were overly verbal. I think we were a close, tight-net unit, and fielding was something we pride ourselves on as 11 against 2. And then you have your great bowlers in Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad, we had Graham Swan. So we had the skill set followed by a really aggressive, not verbally, but a physically as fit as we could be, athletic fielding unit. And that, again, causes pressure. So I wouldn't sit here and go we were most verbally aggressive team, but I think in the team that when we were at our best, we were physically fit, good fielding team, and we looked after each other really well, home or away. And that was the important thing.
Okay, let's get final words, comments, questions, if any, from everybody. Dustin?
Yeah, so I mean, since we're discussing teams of the past and how we shouldn't kind of demean them while bigging up teams of now, I thought I should ask Maninder, have they forgotten about you because of T20s? Because in the 90s, you were the OGs.
Oh, he's brought in the boys, man. Dustin, you were waiting for this. Are we getting money from the brand? Otherwise, I won't name them. Yeah, money.
Yeah, but see, basically, this is certain thing that comes naturally to you. If you talk to an Australian, they're basically aggressive people, there's nothing wrong in it. So when they're on the field, it comes out. The Englishmen, they're basically nice people. You'll very rarely see somebody, mouthing you or, trying to disturb your concentration. And same with the Indian boys, of the past. I really don't think Nasir said anything wrong there, because he was basically trying to say that this as a unit is not going to take anything lying down. And I don't think there was anything wrong said there, because we see that. I can give you an example of Manoj Prabhakar. He used to be very verbal, very aggressive. And, he had his gestures, if he got a batsman out or whatever, and he used to give a few words. But then he was told by BCCI to control himself. And that is when his performance started going down. Because, that natural aggression, when it is stopped, then your performance starts going down.
Well, in closing, I'd just like to say that, I grew up with that whole trope of the nice Bangalore boy. I watched Dravid, I watched Kumble, Srinath and Prasad. And it was a different kind of watching, different kind of viewing back then. I've got to say I'm enjoying this viewing much more.
I'm all for this. I was going to say I'm all for the strong and silent type, but that would be too silent. But then I never won anything at Cricket Outside District under 12. So, if the chirping works, keep it up. Maybe lay off the cuss words. Children are watching. Final
word from you, Ian Bell.
No, I think it's a great thing. I mean, again, I've been very lucky to play. You mentioned Dravid, Kumbale, Tendulkar. I mean, there's times when, they weren't as verbal as this current group or physically, outwardly aggressive, but they were still fine players. And I think Mani summed it up. It's individually finding your own way and as a team what works for you. Being like this might not work for every team in the future. We might see different India teams come again who are just as successful in a different way.
All right then, as we sign off, thank you very much. Ian Bell, Maninder Singh, Dustin Salgado, Varun Shetty and Alan Gardner. Give me your aggressive looks for camera once we're done. See? It doesn't change. And still aggressive. Alan tried, but he looked even nicer than before. Thank you very much.
Nice Englishman.